This is NMH at 1. Thank you so much for joining us for your lunchtime dose of news. I'm Irene Marie van der Walt and I will be taking you through the news making waves, ranging from current affairs, community stories, sports and economic news. Here are our headlines. The City of Windhoek proposes a 10.3% electricity hike, Welwitchia Health Training Centre achieves university status, and the public and civil society bear responsibility to ensure budgets are fully executed, says the Finance Minister. As I said before, I'm Irene Marie van der Walt and I will be joining you for NMH at 1 today. Remember that you can follow all of our programs on oneup2.com or DSTV channel 285 and GoTV channel 25 in Namibia. We bring you an update. Scholastica Ipinge, the founder of Welwitchia Health and Training Centre, announced today during a media engagement that the institution has achieved university status. This development establishes it as the second private university in Namibia, marking it as a milestone for the institution.
All protocols observed or as established. Today marks a significant milestone in the evolution of esteemed institution as we transition from Welwitchia Health Training Centre to Welwitchia University, the second private university in Namibia. This is not simply a change of name, but an expansion of our vision and mission, aiming to enhance our academic footprints, both locally and internationally. I would like to begin by expressing my profound appreciation for the insightful remark as delivered by the Vice Chancellor, Dr. Andreas Mongora. His steadfast commitment to excellence and his vast expertise in governance have laid a solid foundation for our future. Dr. Mongora, congratulations on your role in spearheading this transformative era. Your leadership is crucial, and I encourage you to steadfastly pursue the innovative strategies that promise to elevate our university to new heights in academia and research. As we step into this new chapter, I challenge Welwitchia University to embrace a.
And right after the short ad break, we will be bringing you visual news highlights with local stories from across Namibia. Stay with NMH at 1.
The Ministry of Environment, Forestry and Tourism, in collaboration with the Namibia Tourism Board and the Ondonga Traditional Authority, will be hosting the Itotha Carnival at the Kangonde Sotpan in the Oshikoto region from 27 June to 1st July 2024. Expect a fun-filled weekend including traditional dishes, cookout competitions, totem parades, traditional games, horse riding, skydiving and quad biking. Accommodation facilities will be available at cost. The Itotha Carnival, celebrating our ancient heritage.
What a visual carnival that promises to be. In our visual news for today, in our first story, Finance Minister Ipumbusi Shimi says lawmakers bear the ultimate responsibility to ensure budgets are fully executed. Shimi made the remarks during a discussion on the budget, saying while it was up to lawmakers to ensure budgets were fully executed, civil society and the public in general too should play a part to hold officers, ministries and agencies accountable.
And it's about accountability. I think that's what we're talking about today. How do you ensure that we, the executive, there are enough accountability that holds me accountable as Minister responsible for finance, that hold my colleagues accountable. So I think that's where we need to start. And of course, Parliament has got the oversight in all to ensure that when the budget is allocated to a specific vote or a specific ministry, that budget is executed. That money is used for the right purpose. So again, all of us have to play that role, but civil society also has a role to play. So that's why it's important for all of you to have access to this, so that if I don't do my job, you have information, and you can hold it accountable. You can ask me a question: why do you implement this particular program? Why are you getting money back to the treasury? So I think we all have a role to play. As I said at the beginning, development is a partnership, and we have to ensure that we are also doing our part. So I want to improve our civil society to also strengthen that accountability.
We will be right back with the newspaper review segment, which will help us to take a look at the top stories in Namibia's daily newspapers. We'll be right back. If you haven't seen them yet, here's what you can expect in our daily newspapers. On the Namibian Sun's front page, they lead with word that the city of Windhoek has proposed a 10.3% electricity tariff increase. Electricity in the capital will increase from $2.75 to $3.03 per unit if the increase is approved. The head of the city's electricity department, O'Brien Ekanjo, announced this during a public presentation, the last in a series organised by the Electricity Control Board. On Namibian Sun's page 3, we can also see that the Information Minister, Emma Tufilius, has proposed the establishment of an independent information commission to act as a guardian of transparency and ensure information is accessible and actively disseminated to those who seek it. Tufilius made the proposition when she tabled the regulations for the Access to Information Act of 2022 in Windhoek on Tuesday. The regulations are essential to ensure the effective implementation of the Act, which upholds the fundamental right of all citizens to access information held by public and private authorities. Over to the Republican. On the front page, the municipality of Walvis Bay's legal representative confirmed yesterday that the municipality will file criminal charges against the debt collector Red Force Debt Management today, reports Republican. This comes after 4 councillors from the municipality came across Red Force employees who were allegedly disconnecting residents' water meters in Narraville yesterday afternoon. Also in the Republican, the paper's page 3 informs that a total of 39 suspected cases of measles have been reported among primary school pupils between the ages of 7 and 12 since January this year. According to the Ministry of Health and Social Services, no hospitalizations or deaths have been reported and all confirmed cases are in a stable condition. According to the ministry's executive director, Ben Nangombe, a report of an outbreak of measles was received in May in the Omaruru district in Erongo. Moving on to the Allgemeine Zeitung, the Allgemeine Zeitung reports that double murder convict Ernst Josef Lichtenstrasser withdrew his application for leave to appeal in the High Court yesterday after Christy Liebenberg recommended that he resubmit the application with more complete reasons. This after the public prosecutor, Antonia Verhoef, explained that she could not address the reasons given by Lichtenstrasser in his application because they were too vague. Also on the Allgemeine Zeitung's page 3, the Namibian police force met this week with the Botswana Anti-Trafficking Committee delegation on a 5-day visit to Namibia. Led by Tobo Letlage, the delegation will examine Namibia's approach to combating human trafficking and the handling of cases related to this crime. We'll be right back after this ad break. Moving on now to the Namibian's front page, more than 60 mothers and their babies are forced to sleep on the floor at the Katatura Intermediate Hospital's pediatric and gastro ward due to a shortage of beds, while 50 patients are currently admitted in a tent. Apart from the shortage of beds, patients have raised concerns about food shortages, frequent power cuts and unhygienic conditions. The Namibian reports on page 3 the National Assembly was 4 lawmakers short of meeting the 29-member quorum, leading to the adjournment of the sitting yesterday. Speaker Peter Kachavivi suspended the almost empty House, describing it as unusual. Over the past 3 days, more seats have become empty as members of parliament have been absent amid election campaigns countrywide. The New Era front page reports that the former health minister, Dr. Bernard Taufiku's proposal for Namibia to emulate neighbouring South Africa's national healthcare insurance has evoked mixed feelings within the health sector. The recently endorsed act in that country advocates for the creation of a state fund financed with taxes through which the government procures healthcare services for all citizens residing in the country by utilising public or private healthcare. The South African government said anyone will be able to access NHI contracted GPs, clinics or hospitals closest to them, whether in the public or private sectors. On New Era's third page, the judgment in a matter where the government is being sued for its alleged refusal to provide the public with information on the safety and possible adverse effects of COVID-19 vaccinations administered during the pandemic has been postponed. On Wednesday, Deputy Judge President Hosea Ngula postponed the ruling to the 25th of June. He said the postponement is a result of supplementary heads of arguments that the court requested from the parties. The documents were only filed on 31 May. Looking over now to Market Watch's front page, the government has been urged to develop a local content policy for oil and gas that is amenable and responsive to the needs of international oil companies to ensure that sufficient value addition can take place in Namibia. This follows the discovery of oil resources in the Orange Basin off the southern coast of Namibia by oil majors Shell, Total and Gulp over the course of the last 2 years. After this, we will have a look at the Agriculture Ministry their plans to turn to solar energy to reduce costs by 90%.
Welcome to What's Cooking, where culinary passion meets expert insights.
Somebody must really want to cook and want to cook good food.
Immerse yourself in the bustling world of professional kitchens as top chefs create mouthwatering dishes. Join us for in-depth interviews as our host explores the experiences and expertise of our guest chefs. Don't miss out. Tune in to What's Cooking on NTV every Friday at 2100 hours and let the culinary adventure begin.
This is Economic News with NMH at 1. Currently coughing up millions every month for electricity for its green schemes, the Agriculture Ministry plans to turn to solar energy to reduce costs by 90%. According to the ministry's spokesperson, Yona Msheko, a green scheme such as the Shadikongora in the Kavango East region uses electricity worth 400,000 Namibian dollars per month, while Itunda's bill stands at over 800,000 Namibian dollars. With expectations that green schemes should produce food and sustain the economy, millions are being spent on electricity, but this makes it difficult for the project to make a profit and be self-sustainable. Recently, the Electricity Control Board approved an 8% increase for NamPower's tariffs, and electricity distributing companies have had to follow suit to remain afloat. NORED, which provides electricity to the majority of government green schemes, has proposed an 8% increase for the category under which green schemes fall. This while the Agriculture Ministry has recently placed adverts in newspapers calling for consultants for the construction of solar plants at various green schemes. Cutting costs, the idea of installing solar panels at various green scheme sites is to reduce our current electricity bills, said Mosheko, considering that Namibia is a dry country with high temperatures yet low rainfall. This requires that we do irrigation throughout the week at green schemes. This means that there is high power consumption and eventually high electricity bills. With the incorporation of solar power systems, we intend to reduce the electricity bill by at least 90% at green schemes, he noted. And now it is time for our indicators. Looking at our exchange rates, 1 British pound trades for 24 Namibian dollars and 9 cents, 1 euro for 20 Namibian dollars and 54 cents, 1 US dollar for 80 Namibian dollars and 86 cents, and 1 Chinese yen for 2 Namibian dollars and 60 cents. On our NSS stock closing prices, MTC closed at 7.75, ANIREP at 8.99, Capricorn Investment Group Limited at 17.34, and First Rand Namibia stands at minus 0.5% at 49. For our commodities, there is a decrease all across the board, with gold seeing a decrease of 1.68%, copper a decrease of 1.94%, platinum seeing a decrease of 1.62%, and Brent crude oil of 0.03%. And then for other NSX stock closing prices, Nictus Holdings Namibia closed at 2.22, Oryx Properties Limited at 12.10, and Paratus Namibia Holdings at 11.99. And back in studio, we now look at Somalia, which was elected on Thursday to serve on the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member for 2 years for the first time since 1970s. More on this and other stories from across the African continent coming up after this short ad break. Going beyond Namibia's border to give you the latest news from the African continent here at NMH on NMH at 1 now. We now extend to the rest of the continent, and later we will bring you the international news from the rest of the globe. In our first story, Somalia was elected on Thursday to serve on the UN Security Council as a non-permanent member for 2 years. Denmark, Greece, Pakistan and Panama also got seats on the UN Security Council in a secret ballot in the General Assembly. The 193-member world body elected 5 countries. The 10 non-permanent seats on the 15-member council are allotted to regional groups that usually select their candidates, but sometimes cannot agree on one. There were no such surprises this year. This time, the regional groups put forward Somalia for an African seat, Pakistan for an Asia-Pacific seat, Panama for a Latin America and Caribbean seat, and Denmark and Greece for 2 mainly Western seats. The freshly elected council members will start their terms on 1 January, replacing those whose 2-year terms end on the 31st of December. Mozambique, Japan, Ecuador, Malta and Switzerland will also join the 5 veto-wielding permanent members. The United States, Russia, China, United Kingdom and France are the 5 countries elected last year: Algeria, Guyana, South Korea, Sierra Leone and Slovenia. The Security Council is charged with maintaining international peace and security. In our second story, at least 2 tornadoes hit the South Africa's second most populous province on Monday. Local authorities said Tuesday that 11 people were confirmed dead and over 55 injuries were reported. The tornado in western KwaZulu-Natal region occurred near the cities of Newcastle and Utrecht. A second, more massive, took place around Tonghat and moved toward the coast at Westbrook and Ballito Bay, leaving more extensive damage. The provincial government says that at least 120 people have been displaced. 3 temporary shelters have been established where the affected families are receiving humanitarian aid. After this, we return with our international news. On to our international news. 4 people were killed and more than 20 injured when an express train crashed head-on with a freight train in the Czech city. Officials said Thursday the express train from Prague with more than 300 passengers on board was traveling overnight to the Ukrainian town of Chop when it collided with the freight train, which was carrying calcium carbide, a caustic and flammable chemical. Images from the scene on Czech TV showed a derailed carriage and disoriented passengers, some wrapped in blankets, being ushered into buses. The Prime Minister described the crash as a great disaster, saying, "We all think of the victims and the injured. I express sincere condolences to the bereaved," he wrote on X, formerly Twitter. The accident happened shortly before 11 p.m. at night near the main train station in the town of Pardubice, around 100 kilometers east of the capital city of Prague. Local emergency services spokesman Alena Kisiala told AFP that paramedics had treated 26 injured people. Ukraine's foreign ministry said that 2 Ukrainian women were among the dead. The majority of the injuries were described as light, said Interior Minister Vit Rakusan. The express train operated by the private RegioJet company was expected in Ukraine's Chop early on Thursday. Rescuers said that 9 ambulances, 2 helicopters and more than 60 firefighters had been deployed. In our second story, SpaceX's Starship rocket has completed its first ever full flight after surviving re-entry in a breakthrough for the prototype system that may one day send people to Mars. 3 previous missions have ended with the rocket, which stands nearly 121 meters tall, blowing up or disintegrating. But this time Starship survived re-entry and made a controlled fall into the Indian Ocean just 65 minutes after launching from the US state of Texas. Despite loss of many tiles and a damaged flap, Starship made it all the way to a soft landing in the ocean, SpaceX CEO Elon Musk wrote on X, the social media platform he owns. Starship blasted off from the company's starbase in Boca Chica, Texas at 7:50 a.m. before soaring to space and coasting halfway across the globe. It reached an altitude of nearly 211 kilometers, traveling at more than 26,000 kilometers an hour before beginning its descent. A live broadcast showed parts of the spacecraft breaking off during the intense heat of re-entry, and a chunk of flying debris even cracked a camera lens. The spacecraft remains sufficiently intact to transmit data to its targeted splashdown site in the Indian Ocean. The success of the mission marks a crucial milestone in the company's plan to develop a reusable rock that NASA and Musk are counting on to get humanity to the Moon and then Mars. We will be right back after this. Now taking a look at local sport. Namibia took on Scotland yesterday in their ICC Cricket T20 World Cup campaign. Namibia posted a total of 155 for 9 in their 20 years, with some solid performances from the team. Despite a valiant effort, Scotland chased it down, reaching 158 for 5. Richie Barrington finished the game with a 6, sealing the victory for Scotland. Scotland picked up their first win of the T20 World Cup for 2024 as they fought back to beat Namibia in Barbados. In our second story, Namibia head coach Colin Benjamin has admitted that inexperience in his new look Brave Warriors team was a major factor in the 1-1 draw against Liberia in their FIFA World Cup 2026 qualifying match on Wednesday. The drawn match, played at the Orlando Stadium in Soweto, South Africa, has relegated Namibia to second place in CAF Group H with 7 points. Tunisia secured the top spot with 9 points in the group when they defeated Equatorial Guinea 1-0. Liberia remains on 4 points, followed by Malawi, Sao Tome and Principe, and Equatorial Guinea. Namibia will play Tunisia in Soweto on Sunday at 6 p.m. UNAM's FC Chipe Karombe was put into space and scored the early opener before Liberia was struck back with a Terry Saka equalizer after 65 minutes. In our third story, the new executive committee of the Namibian Table Tennis Association has already offered several tournaments for its junior players this year. Tomorrow, the NTTV presents its 4th competition of 6 at Wanderers in Pioneers Park, Windhoek, which is supported by Aristec Asset Management and Simone Storm. Theo Beekes, Development Officer of the NTTA, says at the end of 2022, the table tennis community chose a new executive committee for a term of 3 years. And that is the end of our local sports. We'll be having a look at our international sports shortly. And now on to our international sports. Paris 2024 organizers on Friday unveiled a display of the Olympic rings on the Eiffel Tower with 50 days to go until the Summer Olympics in the French capital city. The 29 by 13 meter construction made of recycled steel was installed on the south side of Paris's iconic monument by some 30 workers using 4 cranes. And that is the end of our international news. Thank you so much for joining us on NMH at 1.